Good morning, colleagues out there, and boys and girls. Today, we're going to focus mainly on factorization of algebraic expression. But before we can start with that, or address the expressions, factorization, let us go a little bit talk of where do we find this topic exactly. This topic is found in the CAPS document, in term 1 and also in term 3. And this algebraic expression has 3 important concepts and skills. The first skill that we found, it is 1, algebraic language. 2, expand and simplify algebraic expression. And lastly, factorize algebraic expression, of which today we're going to focus mainly on factorization of algebraic expression. In order to master algebraic expression, factorization, you should have learned about expansion by the distributive law. In other words, you should have done distributive law before you come to factorizations. For example, if we have A into B plus C, it's a single. It is a single term because it involves multiplication and bracket. And if you distribute, you're getting rid of the bracket. You merely multiply A by B and A by C. That's going to the result as AB, the product, AB and AC. Here we have 2 terms. From one term, from single term, you're going to have 2 terms. That means if we write AB plus AC, and we factorize this as A into B plus C, which means we factorize by going in this direction. And when we want to go back, we expand by going to direction. It's a reverse of the expansion. Now, let's make a clear example, very clear. Algebraic expression, factorization by so saying, if we have 3x plus 6, as an example, firstly, we have to find the highest, we have to find the factors of the 2 terms. Remember, I said earlier on, when we multiply using distributive property or law, you have 2 terms. Example, we have 3x plus 6. Then the factors of these 2 numbers, 2 terms of 3x, the factors of 3x is 3 multiplied by x. And the factors of 6, is 3 by 2. You can see from this example, we can see that the common factor has been taken out. The common factor has been taken out, which is 3 and 3. So we are left with those 2 other factors that are, when we multiply them, we get the term 6x, 6 and 3x. To factorize the expansion, the common factor must be placed in front of the bracket. In other words, when we factorize this, we must put bracket. And the factors, the highest factor must be in front of the bracket. And to get the expression inside the bracket, you divide the expression by the highest common factor. Divided by 3, divided by 3. If you divide it by 3, 3 goes how many times into 1s, then you are left with x. And then plus, and when you divide 3 goes how many times into 6? 2 times. It means the factors, if you factorize this expression, 3x plus 6 is equal to 3 into x plus 2. In other words, this 3x plus 6 has been factorized as 3 into x plus 2. The expression in the brackets, as I indicated, is found by dividing each term by the highest common factor. This is the highest common factor, which is 3. This is the highest common factor, which is 3. Now let us go to the other example. Let's have this example, 2x plus 6. Remember what I said earlier on. You have to find the factors of each term. The factors of 2x is 2 multiplied by x. And the factors of 6 is 2 multiplied by 3. So you can see we have the highest common factor, which is 2. And then this highest factor must be written in front of the bracket. And to get the expression inside the bracket, you divide the expression by the highest common factor. In other words, if you have 2x plus 6, you divide by the highest common factor, both terms. And then if you divide the highest 2x by the highest common factor, we have x, which is remaining, must be written in the bracket. And plus, and then 2 goes how many times into 3 into 6? 3 times. Therefore, to get the expression inside the bracket, you divide the original expression by the highest common factor, which is 2. Let's get another example again, so that at least by the end of, you know exactly how you're going to find it. The procedure, let's write the procedure. The first procedure is, first one, find the factors of the expression. The second, to find after that, the second one is the factor of that must be written. The highest factor must be written in front of the bracket here. And then number 3, to find the expression inside the bracket, you divide each term by a highest common factor. This is what you should remember every time when you have to factorize taking out a common factor. We're going to rely on these 3 things so that at the end of the day we understand how to factorize an expression using a common factor or taking out a common factor. Let's take another example. The other example is, that's example number 2, taking out a common factor, is minus 3m minus 12. Firstly, I said you must first find the factors of the expression. The factor of minus 3m is minus 3 multiplied by m. and the factors of minus 12 is minus 3 multiplied by 4. If you look at the factors, you'll find that negative 3 is common. Hence, we call it a common factor, taking out a common factor. And number 2, we said after finding that, you must write the highest common factor in front of the bracket, which is negative 3 in front of the bracket. In order to find the expression inside the bracket, you divide each term in the expression by the common factor, which is negative 3, meaning this 3m must be divided by minus 3 plus the minus 12 should be divided by minus 3 as well. Both terms should be divided by minus 3, of which is the highest common factor. If you divide this, it's cancelled that, you are left with m. And then minus, if you divide that, you're going to have 4. In other words, the common factor of that is this minus 4. And then remember, in this minus 4, because when we multiply this, it's going to be positive 4, because when we multiply negative by the positive, we get a negative. Remember, here is negative, here is negative. The two negatives, when we divide each other, it's going to give you a positive 4, positive number. This is the second example. This is the level 2 question. Level 2, we have to be started with level 1 questions. Let's take another example of which it could be also a level 1 question. 5x plus 5y. Remember the 3 things that you should remember, the procedures that you need to follow. The first one is find the factor of the expression. Here, the factors of 5x are 5 multiplied by x, and the factors of 5y is the same as 5 multiplied by y. So you can see it now, 5 is a highest common factor. Therefore, this highest common factor, when going to the second procedure, where we said it must be written in front of the bracket. It must be written in front of the bracket. And this will lead us to say, go to the number 3, which is saying, to find the expression inside the bracket, you divide the original expression by each term by the common factor 5, by the highest common factor 5. 5 goes on to 1, then you are left with x, and then the plus, and then 5 divided by this, and it's y. In other words, the common factor, or solving this question, factorizing this, we have 2 factors, which is factor of 5 and the other factor inside the bracket. In other words, the expression has been factorized as 5 into x plus y. Now, these are simple questions that you can simplify yourself and get some answers. But let us go to the higher level ones of questions that you have to use in order to find the factors of using the common factor to find the common factor of the expression. Let's take this example. K into 2k minus 3 plus 2 minus 3. This is a big example because remember the first 3 examples, we have only 2 terms. Also here we have also 2 terms. Look inside the bracket. Look inside the bracket. 2k plus minus 3, 2k minus 3. Now what are the factors of the first term? This is my first term. This is my second term. What are the factors of those? The factors of k into 2k minus 3 are k multiplied by the bracket, which is 2k minus 3. These are the factors of the term 1. And factors of term 2, which is 2k minus 3. Remember, there is an invisible 1 here, invisible 1 there. It is not there. The factors is 1 multiplied by 2k minus 3. Because when you multiply by 1, you're going to have the same term again. Now, in order to write this, to factorize this, we have to write the common factor before the bracket. Which is what? Which is this one. This is common, which is 2k minus 3 into what is left? It is k, and what is left again is plus 1. Now we have this. The common factor must be written in front of the bracket, and to get the terms in the expression inside the bracket, you divide the first term, each term, by the common factor. Then you cancel, and then you have k. And then we have also 2k minus 3. You divide by 2k minus 3. And this one gives us 1. Because it goes how many times? 1 time. This is the one that you get. The 3 procedures. The first one, find the highest common factor. The second one, the highest common factor must be written before the 2 brackets, the bracket. Thirdly, to find the expression inside the bracket, you divide each term by the common factor. Let's take the other example again. X into x plus 1 plus 2 into x plus 1. This is still part of the taking out a common factor. Now, here it is. Now, firstly, go to the procedure. What are the factors of the first term and the second term? Is x multiplied by the bracket x plus 1. And for the second term, it is 2 multiplied by x plus 1. You can see this one is common and this one is common. And it must be written before the bracket. Before the bracket. In order to find the expression inside the bracket, you divide the first term by the common factor. This one will cancel that. You are left with x. And then you put x inside the bracket. And then plus, you dividing also the second one, which is 2 into x plus 1 divided by x plus 1 inside the bracket. This one cancel this. We are left with 2, and 2 comes in the bracket. Therefore, then you can put 2 brackets to show that the factors are these 2. This is common, and these are the factors found inside the bracket after we have divided each term by the common factor. Now, for you to do at home, I want you to complete the following. The first one is m into m plus 1 plus 4 into m plus 1. You can do it at home and complete it. Number 2, it is b into 4 b minus 3, close bracket, minus 3 into 4b minus 3. The third one, it's a challenging one. This one, I want to see whether can you do it. It's hx plus ky minus hy minus kx. So if you can do these 3 at home to complete the common factor, taking out the common factor, then you're going to be fine with me. So I think you'll be clear and enough before you write an examination, a test this year, know about this common factor, taking out your common factor. Now we're switching to the second one again. The second one is to factorize difference of 2 squares. Before you go to that, I want to explain certain things again. Remember, in difference of 2 squares, where we have a into A plus B into A minus B. This is going to give us A squared minus B squared. This can be used to factorize difference of two squares. We use this in order to find the factors of this. Hence I said, when you move forward, you factorize, and you move backward, you expand. Let us see if we have an example. M squared minus 9. Now, firstly, remember, you have to find the factors. Remember our key things, our procedure. You have to find the factors of each term. The factors of m squared is m multiplied by m. And the factors of 9 is 3 multiplied by 3. You can rather simply write this in this way. It will be m squared minus 3 squared. It is the same because 3 to the power of 2 is 3 by 3, which is 9. Remember, look at this. Because now we have m squared minus 3 squared. This will be the same as, into bracket, we have to write 2 bracket, and then m in both bracket, because there are 2 3's that we have multiplied. It will be 3 this side and another 3. Look inside there. We have a positive and negative, and which means we don't have a middle term. That means we can write positive and a negative. This is the factors of this, because we're using this. We're using that as our guide. As our guide to factorize a difference of two squares. Let's use this one again, an example. Now we know the procedure. We know the procedure. We know the procedure now. 4, and I'm going higher, 4a squared minus 9b squared. Remember now, here we have the factors of what? The factors of 4a squared is the same as 2a all squared, and the factors of 9b squared is the same as 3b all squared. That means here we can change this and write it in the same as 2a all squared minus 3b all squared. It is the same, this is the same notation as this notation. We can now write the factors now. 2 bracket, and then you say 2a, because there are 2, another one in another bracket. Now remember, it can be positive here and negative there. There are 2 also of this, is 3b and also 3b that side. So the factors of 4a squared minus 9b squared are 2a plus 3 into 2a minus b. Remember, because you can change this and write in the same as that one as our background, as our this one. Let's take another example. Now, I said to you, we're taking now going higher and higher, taking level 3 and level 2 questions. X squared minus 4. This is the same as x squared minus 2 all squared. Remember, we have this a plus b into a minus b, which is going to result to a squared minus b squared, of which this is our procedure. So to write the factors of this, we have that it will be 2 brackets must be first being written, and then the x, because there are 2 x there and x here, there are 2 2's there, and then positive and then negative. Meaning the factors of x squared minus 4 are x into x plus 2 into x minus 2. Another example, before I give you some that you can do at home, is 64 minus a squared. 64 is the same as 8 all squared minus a squared. Now, if you write the factors of this, it will be 2 brackets, and then 8 to 8, and then you have positive, and you have negative, and then you have a and a. These are the factors of this expression when you're using different of 2 squares. For you at home, here are the following that you can do. Number 1 is 4m squared minus 25. Number 2, 4a squared minus 9b squared. Number 3, 16 minus into x minus 3 all squared. And number 4 is m squared minus 9n squared. These are the 4 that I would like you to complete at home. But before I leave here, I'll have some answers on this one. Let's go back to the first one, the first homework that I gave you, and then get some answers to that one. Before we close, I'll have to do it first before we go. Let's do the third example of that, because I said earlier on when we started, the factorizing algebraic expression, there are 3. It's taking out a common factor, different of 2 squares, and the third one is finding factors of trinomial. A trinomial, that's why we have 3 terms, whereby we can factorize those 3 terms. The first one is the trinomial. If we have number 1 as x squared plus 7x plus 10. This is a trinomial. Trinomial means 3 terms. 1, 2, 3 terms. If you have to find the factors of these 3 terms, you have to have a table like this. And you have x and 2. 2 is for 10, and x is another x, and then is 5. And then if you multiply this, it's going to give us 2x. Multiply this, it's going to be 5x. When we add the 2, we have 7. In other words, we have the middle term. Now the factors of this will be bracket first. And it will be x and x. Because they are positive, you will have positive 2 and positive 5. These are the two factors of this trinomial. We have to have this as a procedure, and then you have the factors. Let's explain this very clear. If there are two, if there is a middle term is positive, it means that the two factors, when you add after multiplying here, they must give you 7 because it is positive. Let's take the second one again. Three minus m minus 2m squared. The same way again, have the table. Have the table. Then the factors of m is 3 is 1 minus m multiplied by that. And then is 3, this 3, because when you multiply this, you're going to get 3 and 2m. When you multiply this 2, when you multiply this one this way, the same when you multiply that way, and also multiply this way, the same way here we're going to apply that procedure. It will be minus 3m. And when you multiply this, it will be plus 2m. When you add the 2, it's negative 3m and negative 2 and positive 2m. You can see the answer will be the negative m. That's where the middle term comes in. And then the factors will be 1 minus m and 3 plus 2m. These are the factors of this. Remember, the table is very important. The table is very important. Let's take another example. Let's take another example. Is 2p squared plus 3pr plus r squared. Remember the table. It will be p, r, and then it will be 2pr. And this one will multiply that, and this one also multiply that. When you multiply 2pr, you'll get 2pr. And when you multiply p by r, you'll get pr. When you add them, it's going to give us 3pr. 3pr. Then the factors will be into and 2 brackets. It will be p plus r and 2p plus r again. Because here it is plus, here it is plus, and it plus and plus. But when we multiply, we want to get the middle term. This is another example of a trinomial. Let us give now questions on the trinomial that you can complete at home by yourself. Number 1 is z squared plus 3z plus 2. Number 2, it is m squared minus 7m plus 12. Number 3, it is r squared plus 11R plus 18. These are the 3 examples that I want you to finish at home. Remember the trinomial that we used. It was the one of x squared plus bx plus c. Now we want to use where we have a squared plus bx plus c, where a becomes a common in the 3 terms. Example that we can pick up. The example that we can go and do it is this one. Let's say we have 2x squared plus 4x plus 6. Now we're taking out a common factor first, which is 2 in front of the bracket. Then we left with x squared plus 2x plus 3. Then you can now find the factors in the bracket. This is an example that I just choose from out of my head. But the proper example are there in the textbooks. You can find it. But this one, I'm just doing it for example for you to take out a common factor to show you the a, x squared, and bx and c. Because a stands for, can be replaced by 2, and the b is 4, and the c is 6. This is an example of taking out a common factor where it's equal to 0, where the expression must be equal to 0. That's where, when it becomes an equation now, when it's equal to 0. But now it's an expression, there is no equal sign between those two. Now, the proper example are the following. Is where we have 2y squared plus 8y plus 6. Remember I said you must take out a common factor, which is 2. Out of this, it is 2 into y squared plus 2 goes on with 4 times y, and then plus 3. Then we can have the factors inside the bracket. It will be 2 into 2 bracket. And then remember the table. Remember the table. Remember the table. y1 and y3. When you multiply this, you get y. When you multiply this, we have 3y. When you multiply this, we have 3y. When you multiply that, we have y. Then when you add this, add them, it is 4y. Then this is the same as in the middle term. Therefore, the factors will be y plus 1 and y plus 3. The table is very important because you will find the factors of y. Remember, when you're doing the common factor, I said we have to find the factors of the 2 terms. Here we find the factors of the first term and the last term. Another example that we can use to find that, we can use this one of, let's see the example, 3m squared, 3m squared plus 9m minus 30. 3 is common throughout. You're taking out the 3 into m squared plus 3m minus 10. After we have done this, you go to the table. Go to the table. The factors of m. The factors of 10 is minus is 2 and 5. We have another, it can be minus, and then when you multiply, this is positive, this is negative. you multiply this, you're going to get 5m. You multiply this one, you're going to get minus 2m. When you add the 2, because this is positive, and then you're going to find that we have 3m, which is positive, which is the same like the middle term. Then the factors will be 3 into m minus 2 into m plus 5. These are the factors of the expression 3m plus 9m minus 30. These are the factors of that. Remember, the table is very important. The table is very important. Let's take another example. It is 3n squared plus 6n minus 9. Look at that. 3 is common throughout. You're taking out the 3 first. And then when you take out 3 here, how do you take out 3? Remember, I said earlier when we started, you divide each term by the common factor, the highest common factor. In other words, we divide each term by 3. It will be n squared plus, when 3 goes on with 2n, and then it goes on with 3 times. And then you go to the table. It will be n, it will be n. It will be 1 and 3. And then it will be minus 1. And then when you multiply by it, it will be minus n. And when you multiply this one, it will be 3n. And you multiply by that, it is minus n. When we add the 2, it will be plus 2n. Which means now the factors, it will be into 2 brackets, it will be n minus 1 and n plus 3. For you now at home, this is what you have to do at home. Number 1, is 5r squared minus 10r minus 15. Number 2, it is 2p squared minus 16p plus 24. The third one, it is 3y squared minus 3y minus 6. These are the 3 that I want you to finish at home. Let us go back to the question that I said you must complete at home, where you have the common factor and also the difference of 2 squares. Difference of 2 squares. Let's start with the difference of 2 squares, because this is the third one that I said you must complete at home. Difference of 2 squares. The homework was 4m squared minus 25. I said this can also be written as what? As 2m all squared minus 5 all squared. Remember, we used this procedure, a plus b into a minus b, which is going to give us a squared minus b squared. We're using this procedure. That's very key. Since we have this now, it means our first bracket and the second bracket, it will be this 2m, and the other bracket you have also 2m. And we also have 5, and also have 5. Now, because we're using this, then it will be plus and minus. Now, the factors of this difference of 2 squares will be this. You can also go reverse if you want to go reverse. Because we know factorization is a reverse of expansion. If you have expansion, you can factorize. If you have factorization, you can expand. Number 2, where we have 4a squared minus 9b squared. This can also be written as 2a all squared minus 3b all squared. These are the factors. In other words, the factors of this are 2 of this. The factors of this are 2 of this. In simpler terms, you can write them this way. 2a, the factors of 4a squared could be a multiplied by 2a. That's what it means. And 9b squared, the factors, it will be 3b multiplied by 3b. These are the factors. But we have written it this way because we're going to use this notation, this procedure. Now the factors of that, it will be 2 brackets. The first one here, it will be 2a and another 2a in the second bracket. And 3b in the other bracket and 3b also. Because we're using this notation, it will be plus and minus. Therefore, the factors of 9a squared minus 9b squared is into 2a plus 3b and into 2a minus 3b. That was the second question. The third one, it was 16 minus into x minus 3 all squared. Now it means 16 the same as 4 all squared minus this one the same as x minus 3 all squared. Now the factors, put 2 brackets. It is 4 this side and another 4. And then put this bracket and also x minus 3 also bracket. Now, because we have this notation, this procedure, therefore we will have plus this side, we have minus that side. Now we will not yet finish in this one. So we can say it's 4 plus x minus 3. We distribute by multiplying by this number here, which is invisible 1, into 4 minus x minus plus 3. And then we simplify inside the bracket. It will be x minus 1 into 7 minus x. 7 minus x. That is the factors. Remember, advise your learners, sometimes they leave the answer up to here. They can simplify inside there and go to this step and go to the last step. Yes, 7. That was the second one. The third one on our homework that I said you must complete at home. The last one that you must complete at home, it is the one, the simplest one, which is the fourth one, which is m squared minus 9n squared. Simple terms again. This is the same as m squared minus 3n all squared. It is the same. It is the same. Now the factors, you have to put 2 brackets. And then the m and the m. Because we're using this notation, this notation, therefore, will we have positive and negative 3n 3n. That will be the factors of the number 4, which is m squared minus 9n squared. This is the second homework that I gave you to complete at home. Now, the other homework is the one of trinomial, of which I said you must complete at home. The question was z squared plus 3z plus 2. In this one, I said to remember the table. To be z, to be 1, it will be 2. This is z, this is 2. When you multiply z by 1, you get z. When you multiply z by 2, you get 2z. When you add the 2, we have 3z. And this gives us the middle term. Therefore, the factors of this, 2 bracket, and then it will be z and z, and then 1 and 2. And then because it's positive, positive, positive. Those are the factors of the table is very important so that you can get the factors as easy as you can. The second one, that was number 1 under trinomial. Number 2 under trinomial was m squared minus 7n plus 12. So from here, you go to the table. It will be m. It will be 3, 4. Then it's negative, negative. And then you multiply this by this, you multiply that by that. And then when you multiply 3m by minus 3, it's minus 3m. When you multiply m by minus 4, it's minus 4m. When we add the 2, because they are negative, it's going to give us negative 7m. And then give us the middle term. And then the factors of this are negative 3, negative 4. These are the factors. The table is very important. It's easy for you to get that. Because how do you get 7? You check the two numbers that when you add them, they must give you 7. It's 3 and 4. Sometimes it can be 2 and 5. But when you multiply 2 and 5, you cannot get 12. You'll get 10. The third one. R squared plus 11r plus 18. You go to the table. Is r and r is 2 and 9. The factors of 18, it could be 3 and 6. It could be 18 and 1. But this one, when you get the factors, you must get, when you add the two factors, they must give you 11. So that's what we have, 2 and 9. And it's plus, and it's plus. When you multiply this one, you get 2r. When you multiply this one, you get 9r. When you add, it's 11r. So we have the middle term. Therefore, the factors are r plus 2, r plus 9. That was the homework that I gave you to finish today. Now, lastly, maybe I remember, well, I didn't give you the homework of taking out a common factor. Okay, lastly is the one of, let's check. Yes, this one of taking out a common factor. First, the first one where we have trinomial, where we have the common factor as 5, is 5r squared minus 10r minus 15. Here we're taking out a common factor first, before the bracket, is 5 and then into r squared minus 2r minus 3. This by this 5r, 10, 15. Now from here, you go to the table. It will be r, and then it will be 1 and 3. When you the factors of this, it will be 3 and 1. And then this one, because when you add a 2, it must give us 2. In fact, the bigger one must be a negative, this one must be negative, positive. When you multiply, it will be r. When you multiply, it will be minus 3r. When you add, this is positive r, it is minus 2r. Therefore, the factors will be, the 5 is still there as common. The factors will be r plus 1, r minus 3. The important thing is to take out a common factor. Sometimes you forget to take out a common factor. You just write this inside the bracket. Some people are writing divide by 5 throughout. There's something right like that, throughout. It's the same, but now this must be specified. 5 is out. If you leave it like this one, if a person cannot see it, that 5 divided by that throughout, therefore get something incorrect here. Number 2, that's why we have 2p squared minus 16p plus 24. Here, 2, you must take 2 out. 2 into, it will be p squared minus 8p plus 12. From here, you go to the table. It will be p and p. Now the factors of 12, it's 2 and 6. If 2 and 6, in other words, there are 2 signs only multiply, positive and positive, and then it is 12. Negative and negative, it is 12. But when you add them, it will give us positive 8. But if there are 2 negatives, they will give negative. 2 negative and negative. And we multiply this one and multiply that one. And then this multiply is minus 2p, and this one is minus 6p. When we add the 2 negatives together, it is minus 8p, giving you the middle term. Therefore, the factors is 2 into 2 brackets, p minus 2, and then p minus 6. Those are the factors of 2p squared minus 16p and 24. The last example, it was the third one, 3y squared minus 3y minus 6. You're taking out 3 as a common factor of all the terms. 3 into, here we're left with y squared minus y minus 2. Then from here, you go to the table. The y, it will be y and y. And then factors of 2, it will be 2 and 2. 2 and 1, sorry, 2 and 1. But the middle term is 1. In other words, the 2 must be negative, this one must be positive. Then you multiply y by this minus 2y. Y multiplied by this is y. When we add the positive and the negative, we're left with y. So, after adding this, it's giving the middle term. So the factors are 3 into y minus 2 and y plus 1. And this trinomial, where we have a as a common factor of the 3 terms, a as a common factor of the 3 terms, it's very important to take it out first. And after that, you go to the table and to find your factors, and then come back and write the factors of the expression. Thank you very much today. If there is a question, you can phone the IBP, and then they'll call me, then I'll answer those questions for you. Thank you very much.